Have you guys realized how we're being sold a lifestyle and we're trading what we actually need in order to achieve this lifestyle? Most people think my life upgraded when I started working at Microsoft. They're like, oh my God, like you've reached the peak of your career. But the reality is when I got to the peak of my career and was outwardly successful, that was actually the phase in my life that I was the most miserable. One day, I literally walked into my home office, and the moment I crossed into the room, I started feeling like I couldn't breathe. Felt like I was being strangled. I started to panic and I was crying and called my sister, called my therapist, and immediately my therapist was like, yeah, you're going on a medical leave. And I was basically having a really bad panic attack. It was a buildup of years and years of just constantly achieving and sacrificing my needs in the process of all that achieving. I felt like I was on autopilot and it was slowly taking a toll. There's so many conversations about like the loneliness epidemic, and we're called the anxiety generation, and there's an atrophy of social skills. Chronic health issues are on the rise, and we're also seeing declining birth rates, especially in the US. So yeah, it got me thinking, like, why do we continue to buy into this lifestyle? And more importantly, why are we so willing to sacrifice our actual needs for this lifestyle? Because we're told, yeah, you should move to the city, but moving to the city means that I have to now go to work for somebody in order for me to eat. Because I don't have a farm, I can't grow my food. So I'm effectively putting myself in a position where food is something that I have to go through a paywall to get now. We're eating toxic food, it's making us sick, but we're told, no, you should go to the city because going to the city means that that's an upgrade to your life. And like, why would you want to stay in the country? Why would you want to live a village lifestyle? That's so barbaric. We're just being told that it's an upgrade to pursue a more expensive, because when you go to the city, life will be more expensive. It just is. They're telling you to get this 6-figure job that's going to have you sitting on a couch for 8 hours a day, neglecting your health, all in the name of you should pursue money though, because money is more important. Because if you get the money, then you can buy all the other things that you need. And oh, you have to buy a house, because if you don't buy a house, then you haven't really achieved anything in your life. And oh, by the way, you can't cohabitate with people, because cohabitating with people, that's what broke people do. You don't cohabitate with people. Why would you cohabitate with your family? Number one, you're being a burden if you're cohabitating with your family. You have to aspire to living by yourself. You have to aspire to individualism. Otherwise, like, you're just of a lower status, or you're just looked at like there's something wrong with you, even though this is how families have operated and how people have lived for centuries. If you go to every other society, cohabitation is perfectly normal. Nuclear families don't need to have their own houses each, right? And then on top of that, now that we all own our whole houses and are living on different coasts of the country, there is no village to raise the kids. So now childcare has to be paid for. So now not only are you paying a mortgage, but you're also paying for childcare, which is the same cost as your mortgage, if not more. But we're told to aspire to living away from family, living individually or in just your nuclear family, and being as individual and independent as possible. That is aspirational. Anything else, you're a bum, you're an inconvenience, and you are disturbing people's peace. And the other thing is that we are kind of disincentivized to involve our friends in our day-to-day life. Like, oh, if you call your friend to run an errand with you, you're inconveniencing them, you're disrespecting their time. Why would you do that? Why would you bring your friend to go and do this task with you when you can just go and schedule a time to go to a fancy restaurant, sit down with your friend and pay a lot of money to be able to see your friend for an hour or two? If you pop up at your friend's house, that's rude, that's disrespectful. You should schedule an appointment if you want to see your friends or family even, because how rude of you to just pop up in the house. Like, these things that people just do in other countries that are just like socially accepted have been demonized in the US, and we just look at them like this is uncivilized behavior. Oh, and do not make the mistake of talking to your friends about your problems. That is dumping. You are trauma dumping. You're so inconsiderate for doing that. Do not. Your friend does not have the capacity. And I do think that like people are losing their capacity, but it's all because of this system, right? All of this, what is it costing you? It's costing you human connection. Because if you had a lifestyle where you cohabitated with your family, your human connection would be built into your lifestyle. If you don't ever interact with people, you don't get to develop relationships. That's how you end up in a loneliness crisis. That's how you end up with mental health issues. That's how you end up with depression, anxiety. So it's no wonder that we're all anxious and depressed. And we can never find a time to hang out with our friends because we're supposed supposed to involve our friends in our day-to-day life. This lifestyle that we are adopting is actually making us sick. Like, it's actually making us miserable. So how do we break out of this cycle? So here's a few things that I've personally learned and started applying in my life. The first thing is you need to kill your ego. If you believe that modern life is superior to village life, then yeah, you're going to buy into all of these ideas. You're going to buy into the individualism. You're going to buy into the consumerism. Oh, you need a big house, otherwise you're a bum. Even though there are people living in mud houses and they're frankly healthier. Researchers are researching indigenous lifestyle because they're realizing that our lifestyle is actually shit compared to what indigenous people they're getting, but they have better outcomes. The root reason why we even got duped to this extent is because of this ego, right? If you have a mindset where you want to be better than other people, or you have an ego and you would like to believe that you're better at other people, in order for someone to manipulate you, all they have to do is play into your ego. The second mindset thing is I stopped buying into this idea of like, oh, you need to be practical, you need to be realistic, you need to be grateful. I don't care about being practical, realistic. I think this is just another way of saying shut up and follow the script, right? Shut up and buy into what we're telling you, right? People will say, oh, you should be grateful that you have, you're working at Microsoft. Most people don't get to be grateful. If my emotions are telling me that there's something wrong with this lifestyle, that's something that I should investigate. You should not allow people to talk you into overriding your instincts or like overriding what you are feeling inside, because those feelings are there for a reason naturally in order to get you to act when things are actually out of alignment or things are wrong, right? So forget this whole be practical, be grateful, be realistic. Like, yes, to an extent, we do have to participate in modern life for now because we are in a catch-22 now, but that doesn't mean you can't work towards that. That doesn't mean you can't aspire to get out of it and work towards that, because this whole thing of like, oh, well, I have to be realistic and grateful keeps you complacent. And that's the reason why a lot of people are not even taking action to start moving away from this lifestyle. The third thing is be clear on what your actual natural needs are and priorities. We're told that money is the ultimate need and that's the only thing we should be chasing, and we sacrifice literally everything else. Again, we sacrifice our health for it. Like, we're willing to just work all day, and we know that we're neglecting our health, but we're willing to do that for the money because we're told the money is how you actually get to your needs. But that's not the case, right? If you worked a part-time job and opted for a lower lifestyle, you wouldn't have to work so many hours, neglecting your health, being in a sedentary lifestyle, right? You could actually just lower your lifestyle, which is what I've done. I'm not just talking out of, I literally sold my house, sold everything, sold my car. I walk everywhere because I don't have a car, and it's improved my health actually. You need to be clear on what's important and structure your life to access those things that are important. And the next thing that I will say is try to build a sustainable lifestyle. If you can grow food, learn how to grow food, learn how to meet your needs without having to go through a paywall to do it. Make friends that don't need to spend money in order to hang out. Make friends that are okay with hanging out with you, just coming and running errands with me, or just being in my day-to-day life, and vice versa. I like friends that were just like, hey, we don't have to go and pay for an activity to go and have that human connection and interaction, right? Sometimes us interacting and hanging out is you picking me up or me coming and helping you clean in your house. That is how we develop this friendship. That's how we get our human connection. We don't have to go and pay a corporation a bunch of money to do that. Oh, and by the way, also this whole time you're going to like a nice restaurant to talk to meet up with your friends, you're actually not even interacting with your friends. You're just taking pictures and that's another thing we're sold. Oh, well, you can't hang out with your friends at a picnic in the park. That's broke people shit. You have to go to a fancy restaurant and so that you guys can take pictures for Instagram, right? Like, this is like the bullshit. So find a way to live sustainably. Surround yourself with people who have that same mindset, who will encourage and hold you to that lifestyle because they're also living that lifestyle. And just in general, reject this hyper individualistic lifestyle that is being sold to us. Like, yes, being an individual is important and like following your own purpose, because we all have like an individual purpose. But like this whole idea that like in order for you to be successful, or in order for you to look successful to the external world, or like in order for you to gain status in society, then you have to be on your own, doing everything on your own. You can't cohabitate with anybody. It's being a bum. Just reject this idea that being hyper individualistic is what makes you more successful, because it may make you outwardly look more successful because we're all brainwashed with this idea. But the reality is you are going to sacrifice your ability to build human connection, your ability to meet your actual basic human needs in the name of that. It's not a coincidence why many other societies are very communal, why families cohabitate, why people cohabitate. It's because that's what is optimal for human needs, right? And when you take away this branding of like individual lifestyle just looking better and status and all these superficial things. That is what humans tend towards. Let me know what you guys think down below about this topic. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.